Hi, it's Mark here, Tuesday, January the 20th, just after 10 a.m. Eastern. That's just after 3 p.m. GMT. Well into the US session, going into the last closing stages of the European session. We're looking at the US dollar and lots to talk about on the dollar. A huge sell-off. You can see on the index resistance 98.90 and support all the way down at 98.01. The sell-off started early during the Asian and European session. Hasn't really been added to in the US session. In fact, US is trying to fight its way back. If I zoom in on the hourly, you can see the attempted fight back hasn't made that much progress and pretty flat now around the 98.34. And we'll see during the US session and the remainder of the US session whether the US can fight back, if prices do remain where they are now, or if the selling a second round of selling and sellers get back to that 98.01 support level. Reason for the big sell-off is clearly Trump's doubling down on his aggressive stance and rhetoric and statements made about owning Greenland, and certainly has caused a lot of friction, anxiety, and nervousness in the market between US dollar, which we're seeing being sold off, and the way the European currencies, the NATO allies are responding, certainly all being played out as we watch the US dollar performance today. If you look at the majors, there's the euro today, and the euro over 130 pips is the move we've seen on the euro. I've got support at 116.29. I've got resistance right up at 117.63. The wick at the top, you can see selling euro, buying US. That would be the US attempting a fight back. Let's zoom in on the hourly. There you see the attempted fight back, but we'll see again whether that can materialize into anything and the US can fight back down to the below 117 and lower, or if we're going to see continued dollar weakness and euro strength. Bear in mind the average true range on this pair, which is usually around 50 to 60 pips in a day, and it's already doubled that. So I don't know how much more room there is to go higher, but we'll see whether buyers can get back up to those resistance levels. But very weak US dollar against the strong euro this morning. Let's have a look at the pound. Also, there you see green candlestick, buying pound, selling US dollar, weak US dollar against the pound as well. Not to the same extent as the euro. I've got support at 134.07 and I've got resistance at 134.91. Small wick at the top again, US trying to fight its way back. Have a look how the EMAs are about to cross over as well, which would signal a reversal from a downtrend to an uptrend. We'll see how that plays out during the US session and again see whether we continue to see US dollar weakness and get back to these resistance levels, or if the US is able to fight back and come look back down to the 134 mark. Let's have a look at the US yen. And as you've seen over the last few days, um, different picture when we look at the yen, because the yen also is going through its own share of weakness at the moment. So not really able to fight back against a weak US dollar. I've got support at 157.50 and I've got resistance at 158.60, over 100 pips already. And for now, hanging around yesterday's close. If US dollar does fight back, certainly we'll, if the US dollar is able to fight back, we'll certainly see it against the yen, and buyers will be looking up at that 158.60 resistance level. Continued US dollar weakness, perhaps come back down to that 157.50, but as I say, yen in its own right also weak at the moment. Let's have a look at the US against the Canadian. Second day in a row of Canadian strength against a weak US dollar again today. EMAs have crossed to the downside, signaling a downtrend on the dailies. I've got support at 138.15. I've got resistance at 138.79. Pretty much covers the um, average true range on a daily basis, which is around 60 pips on this pair. Again, let's see if if US dollar weakness continues, if the Canadian can continue to strengthen and break below this 138.17, get down to that 138 level. US dollar strength, on the other hand, would look to maintain above 138, get back up to the 138.79. Very interesting situation we have here today. Weak US dollar, and even we're seeing reversals on the charts, on the daily charts from strong US dollar. We saw strong US dollar to start the year, and that went right up until a couple of days ago. Now we're seeing the turnaround, and certainly today, US dollar being sold off strongly. We'll see whether that can be maintained. We've got our resistance and support levels to work with. If there is going to be a bounce or a turnaround, good trading. Keep that discipline. I'll see you at the end of day.